Here we're taking a look at shifts in supply and demand and how this impacts consumer and producer surpluses. We're given an example where we're told there's a decline in production costs as manufacturers produce more 4K TVs. So essentially what this is telling us is that supply will be increasing, right? Because these manufacturers are able to produce more at these lower production costs. So our supply curve is going to shift outward and to the right. Okay, so here's our new supply curve at S1, which means our new equilibrium is going to fall right in here. So we can see from that is that price has dropped and quantity has increased from Q0 to Q1 and P0 to P1. And we'd like to know what the effect is on consumer surplus. Well, let's keep in mind real quick, let's go back to what this first equilibrium would be. There are two white lines, D0 and S0. Our consumer surplus is this area of the triangle right in here, right? All in here. The area of the triangle that lies above price and below the demand curve. And producer surplus, on the other hand, would have been the area that lies below price and above the supply curve. So that would have been this area in here to start. But now what we're seeing is with this increase in supply, all of a sudden our consumer surpluses and producer surpluses are changing. And what we can see is that because consumer surplus is that area above price and below demand, and we've seen no change in demand, however, price has decreased, which means there gives this much more length, right, to one side of the triangle, all in here. So that means that we can conclude that consumer surplus will have increased. We can't know for certain by how much here because we're not given any real numbers to work with, but we can know for sure that consumer surplus will have increased. Now, how about producer surplus? Well, we can see that producer surplus would have changed from this first green triangle I drew, right? But now all of a sudden, it's going to be that area below price and above that supply curve. But we don't know for certain if this is going to increase or decrease because that's going to be dependent upon whatever this new quantity is that's being sold. So it's going to depend on what that what the exact decrease in price was and the exact increase in quantity, because if our decrease in price is greater than the increase in quantity, they're not going to see any increase in producer surplus. They would need to see an increase in quantity that is greater than the decrease in price. So for the effect on producer surplus, we can't know for certain. We would need some more information, some actual values to work with here in order to determine that. But remember that consumer surplus in this case will definitely have increased, and that's because price has dropped.